everybody, I am finally here with my September and October favourites and updates. I'm so sorry I didn't get a September update up for you. It was just the month of Christmas releases. I just didn't get the time, and to be honest, I did that huge review of Christmas releases, which was the bulk of September, October for me. So it's not quite as much. So this video is almost the same as a 1 month, as in how many products, because I've mostly been testing out those Christmas releases. So if you've missed that, I do have a very long video reviewing every single Christmas release that I have tested, and I did test loads, and I ranked them in order of my preference. So if you'd like to see that video, please do check it out on my channel. But for now, let's go straight into the September, October. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 47, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I review the latest products, show you some of my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this sort of content, I would love it if you liked and subscribed. It's super helpful to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a future video from me. If you're already subscribed, welcome back, thank you for returning, I appreciate every single one of you so much. And my skin tone, if that's helpful to anyone, I've got fair to light skin with neutral undertones and blue eyes. Not that I'm testing makeup today, just chatting about it, but anyway, that's enough about me though. Let's move on with this video. So I am actually wearing my favourites from, I had to try and pick my top favourites, I always do that. So this is my favourites over the whole 2 months. Apart from the shadow on my mobile lid, I've just been testing out the Patrick Tar Duos, which I've already uploaded the video for. So everything else, the eyeshadow underneath, is from my favourite. So anyway, let's go through them. So starting with primers, there was only one I tested, and that was the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer. This one, it's okay. It's just okay. I don't think I would be tempted to use it again, because no matter how I applied this, thin, thick, no matter how, I didn't really notice any difference in the blurring once I had a foundation on top. I really didn't, so I would rather go in with a moisturising primer, which is what I prefer to do. So that one was a bit of a fail for me. And then the Easy Blur Huda Beauty Foundation. So my problem with this was shade match. I've got vanilla here, and I was sent this one in PR, which is the wrong shade. It's way too dark. This is Très Lèche, I think it says. So number 3206, if I can read it. And vanilla is 1208. Luckily for me, this worked out very well, because if I add a bit of this, a tiny bit of this to vanilla, I get the shade I need. And I have to say, I love this. I really do. The more I've used it, the more I've loved it. I do wish I had an exact shade match, but it's very good when I do that. So, and also I could add more in the summer, so it's quite a cool idea in a way, because I can sort of make it, tailor it to my shade however I want it, so paler or darker. But I do think this goes on very easily. I've never had any problems with caking. It's lasted really well. It does blur, it gives you a lovely finish. It's not quite your skin, but better, but you can tell you're wearing makeup, if you know what I mean, but it's still lovely. It really is very nice. So this is probably one of my favourites I've tried in a while. Really enjoyed that one. And then I tried this Vive Complexion Balm. So I've got this one in the shade 120. I would actually say this ties for me with the Huda, because they are both really, really beautiful. This one is more like a sort of skin tint level, I'd say, but it gives more correction than a skin tint. So it's a little bit more coverage than a skin tint. It's sort of light to medium, sort of moving slightly towards medium rather than light, I'd say. And you can build this one up. It goes on top of everything I've tried it with. It doesn't argue with any of my products. Again, there's no caking. The longevity is good. This one is a your skin but better though. This just makes your skin, it makes it look like you're not wearing makeup, but you've got the most perfect, lovely skin. It gives a tiny bit of a glow. It's always worked well for me. So this is really, really good. And this shade match was very good for me as well. And what I also picked up was this brush from Vive. This is number 115. And this brush was so good that I literally stopped using everything else, because I love it. I love the way you can just get into all areas. You can do everything with this brush. I wouldn't mind having 5 of these so I could keep them for everything, because if I start with foundation, I don't really want to be doing contour, because obviously you're left with a bit of foundation on the brush. But this brush can do all those jobs. You could sort of wipe it off in between, I suppose, but you can get in for concealer, you can do your foundation. I love the way it works it around the nose, and it works perfectly with this. So those were 2 big hits for me. Now the Onesize Turn Up the Base foundation. This one was a bit of a nightmare, in all honesty. I tried and tried and tried to make this work, and the only day it worked for me was the day I filmed. So bizarrely, it did work for me, but I have to strip back the skincare. This argues with vitamin C, it argues with SPF, it argues with so many things that all of my other products don't seem to argue with. So for that reason, I would say this is a big fail. But the day I got it to work, where I just had a moisturized base and no vitamin C or SPF, it looked really nice. But I don't want to go without either vitamin C or SPF. I certainly don't want to go out and find a vitamin C or SPF that fits the foundation. I've got ones I really like and they work with everything else beautifully. So for that reason, I'm afraid this one is a fail. But otherwise, this does give pretty good coverage. I wouldn't say it's completely full, nearly full if you build it up. But I think it would get a bit heavy and cakey if you really built it up to that full. So this is just okay, but too many problems, I'm afraid. I can't be too nice about that one. So the one I'm wearing, the one that's come top, is this one. So this is the Dolce & Gabbana. I mean, look at the packaging. I love this heart. I absolutely love it. Sorry it's so mucky. I've been using this today, so I've got my fingerprints all over this. So I've got this in the shade 5N Light, which is a perfect match for my skin tone. I really, really like it. I like applying this one with a sponge. I have tried it with a brush, but I think it goes on better with a sponge. It goes on beautifully. It just gives you, I think it gives you a natural finish. For a matte, I think that's amazing because it doesn't completely mattify. It's not one of those sort of flat mattes. It looks a bit more natural, but it gives excellent coverage. I've got a full review of everything I'm showing you here, so if you want to see a full review of this, but this is what I'm wearing today. I love the way that this sits. It's got great longevity again. It's not arguing with any of my products underneath. It's not one that cakes up. Perfect for my skin. So I've got combination skin, mostly dry, and a little bit of an oily T-zone. I got no oils coming through with this one, and my dry areas, it didn't catch on to any dry spots. I felt quite hydrated with it. It's got nice skin care. There's so many good things I could say about this one, so much so that this might even break into my top 5. That's how much I love this one. And I've just realised I didn't mention Rabanne. Obviously this isn't my top one, but I did test this one out as well this month. So this is the Fresh Touch Foundation in the shade 10N. Yeah, 10N, which was too dark for me. I need to go down a shade, so you can see me reviewing this and you'll see how it was just too dark. A little bit yellow for neutral as well, but this sits like a skin tint really, a skin tint with a little bit more coverage than your average skin tint. That's how I describe it. It's not really like a foundation. It's, again, goes on beautifully, very similar really to the Vive, I'd say, in the way it sits. You could probably even work this in with your fingers, as you can actually with the Vive. And again, it's very, very, very nice. I can't complain about any of the ones I've tried this month other than that one size. So this one it's got reasonable longevity as well. It's not quite as good as the Dolce & Gabbana I've just shown you, but this has reasonable longevity. You can wear it for about 8 hours. It does have skincare ingredients. So I haven't wanted to reach for this one quite as much, but then I tested it more recently. So, and I also think because I've got the Vive, maybe my mind hasn't gone to this, but I think I would probably happily swap them out because they really are very, very good. I think Rabanne is a brand well worth checking out. They've got a lot of lovely products, and this also worked quite well with their concealer. Now for concealers, I'm wearing this concealer, but this is the only concealer I've tested over the last 2 months, and that is this one from Victoria Beckham. So I've got mixed views on this, and the first one would be, I didn't clean this up on purpose because this is how it looks every time I use it. So it's messy. The other thing I hate about it is when you close it, if you close it by going like that, this is the button to release the concealer, and then it all leaks out into the top. And I've been caught out by this so many times. So you need to just hold it here and click down. But it's so tempting to do that because that's what you naturally tend to do. And I've been caught out many times. So that annoys me. And also, you need a corrector or something. I've put this on today and I've ended up going in with a little bit more concealer, a different concealer here, because I could see darkness that it hadn't covered up. It does not get rid of darkness. I don't even have a lot of darkness under my eyes, but I'm still aware of the little bit I've got after applying this. It does go on beautifully. It is one of the easier ones to blend. I think it's got lovely skincare. This one, it's around the £60 mark. It's probably one of the most expensive concealers to launch. It's extremely expensive, and you do get a tiny amount in the pen. So that's something I don't like. Probably what I liked the most was this shape brush with a bit of concealer on is perfect, which is how I think I'm now going to use it for cleaning up here, doing that line. It's like it's made for that. But I think the reason this is expensive and the reason people like it is because it's got this incredible skincare in it. But for me, like you, I'm sure we already use good eye creams and good skincare. I don't feel I need to add to it. Every morning I put on an eye cream, so I'm still putting my eye cream on when I put this on. But I did actually take this one on holiday and I used it every single day in the heat, and it wore well. It didn't shift particularly, it stayed all day. So it's very good, and it doesn't cake and it doesn't emphasize lines. It is a very good one from that respect, but it's very light coverage, very expensive, very messy. I've got a few issues with this one. I'm doing really well for myself today because there is another concealer I tested, the MAC, but it was the Victoria Beckham that I tried on. But I think I don't know if Victoria Beckham's my favourite. I just wanted to try it again today because it's been a couple of weeks before I tried it, so I wanted to refresh myself. So I'm not necessarily wearing my favourite, but this one is the one from MAC. This is called the Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer, and I've got mine in the shade N12. This is a good shade match for me. I love the bottle on this. I think it's really, really nice. This is a very good concealer. This one doesn't sit quite as beautifully for me as the Westman Atelier, which I've been loving, and the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin, but it's a very close sort of second to those. It's nearly as perfect, as in it just sinks in like a serum, because it is like a serum based one. So this is very good if you have trouble with lines under the eyes and concealers that emphasize or sink into those lines. It's definitely not a cakey one. It works well all over the face. It works well with other products. This is a good concealer, and it's a good addition to the MAC range because you get such a good shade selection. So if you've got a favorite foundation, maybe from the Studio Radiance actually range in foundation, you can match up your shades or match your shade by going down one, you know, if that's what you do. Some people, I like to go down and up with concealers, so I've got a brightening shade and a correcting shade. But if you're familiar with it, then you know that when you go on the MAC website, you've got a huge range of options. So it is one of the really good ones, but for me it's not quite at the top. But it would beat the Victoria Beckham one right now for me. I would rather use this one than the Victoria Beckham because it gives me the coverage I need, which is medium to full. Well, not full, it's just slightly over medium, let's say. But yeah, this is a really nice concealer. So I've been testing out a ton of powders, but I think I'm just going to have to talk about all of those on a different day because they have been powders that have launched over the last few months. I've just been going on the hunt for Givenchy replacements because of the change to the Prisme Libre formula. But this one I'm going to show you because this one has a very good chance of taking over from Givenchy as my replacement, and this is the one from Makeup by Mario. This is the Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. I've used this more than any other powder for the last, well, since I've had it, which is I think about 6-8 weeks now. And this works under the eyes, it works all over the face, it does blur, it doesn't cake up. You need to go a little bit gently under the eyes because you need to have that light layer if you've got that sort of very, very thin skin here like I do. I do need to be careful, otherwise it will look a bit cakey there. That happens with all powders. The only thing I'd say that it doesn't quite match the Givenchy for me is the colour, because I've got the lightest colour here, which is fair pink, but it's still not quite as light and brightening as the Givenchy in shade 3 because that's got those 4 colours mixed together and one of them is a pink, and you do get a bit more pop of brightness, so I don't think the shade is as nice. So I'd like it if Mario could come out with a lighter shade and then that might be perfect. But the problem I've got with that is that you then want both. You want the light shade under the eyes and then you'd want this shade all over the face. The thing I love about the Givenchy is it does all over the face perfectly and you just feel it's right, whereas I find the same with Huda. I've got a favourite with Huda. I like the pink one under the eyes, and I like one of the, which one is it, Cupcake? I can't think of what it's called now, or Pound Cake, that's it. Pound Cake all over the face. But it's much easier like Givenchy when you've just got everything in one place. But anyway, because this is the closest, I have been using this under the eyes on all over the face, and it is one of the best I've used. I think it is brilliant, and it's also talc free. So considering it's changed the ingredients like Givenchy, I think it's better because it doesn't have that brightening addition, which is what they did with Givenchy. They added that sort of highlighter into it, which is why they just don't work very well, because they now highlight your lines rather than blurring them. This one doesn't, and it's well worth trying. So now moving on to blush. I tried these ones from Singe Beauty. I actually picked up all of these. So I liked all of these actually. These are lovely sort of glowy formulas. This is, what's the colour here? This is Riveting Rhubarb, and this one is Timid Tomato. I think Timid Tomato is possibly the one I wasn't too sure about, but I ended up really liking. So I'll just swatch those quickly. You see how they've got a sort of natural glow to them, but it's not that sort of glow that gives you glitter. It's nothing like that. It's a natural glow. I really, really like them actually. And if you have, well, I think all 4 shades cover you for different seasons. This one, it was actually probably my favourite. This one is Risky Raisin. This is a lovely shade for sort of autumn, winter. It is a very rich colour, but you can, I didn't swatch that very well then, you can apply this gently and it works on my skin tone. I'm just going to blend it out a bit because I put way too much on my hand then. So this is how it looks blended out. I've blended that out more with my finger so you can really see the sort of glow that you get from these actually. I didn't blend these out quite as much, but do you see what I mean, how glowy they are? They are a gorgeous formula, extremely good prices as well. I can't remember exactly, but they are very, very good prices. You're not getting a mirror, and it is just cardboard, but then you're paying about a quarter of the price you do for something like a Dior. And there was Persistent Persimmon, I think it's Persimmon. This is the shade I probably use the least. I don't think I would ever use this as a blush on its own. It's quite a strange colour for me, but it goes well if you mix it. So you can sort of use it almost to top the colour and slightly transform the colour. So that's how this has a place in that collection for me. But yeah, I've really enjoyed these. So if you get the opportunity to pick any of these up, I did have to get mine from the US and pay shipping. So if you're in the UK, may be tricky, but if it does come to the UK, I'd definitely pick one up if you like one of these shades. They are lovely, they really are. And if you're in the US, obviously you'll have more access to them, so definitely recommend those. They are lovely. Now for the next 2 blushes, and I'm wearing both of them, so I'll start with the one I've got underneath. So I've got a cream blush, and that is from the new Tom Ford. This is from the Soleil collection that just came out, the sort of winter, autumn winter collection. A lot of people asked why these didn't feature in my favourites in the Christmas releases, and that's because this wasn't called a Christmas release. But the highlight in this is just a nice highlighter, gives you a natural sort of glow. But this blush is absolutely beautiful. So this is a cream blush, super, super easy to blend in. And the colour on this is gorgeous. I think it is such a lovely shade that would just about work on anyone. It's supposed to give you cheeks like you've been out skiing, I think that's what it says, and that's exactly what it does. Perfect for this time of year for creating that sort of effect. But it is a very, very sort of natural, beautiful pink. I really like this. It can be built up a little bit more, so I think you could get this on fair, it would work for fair and medium skin tones. I'm not so sure about deeper skin tones, but I think this will work for a lot of people. So I've got this underneath, so you can see it a little bit on my cheeks today, but I've topped it with my other favourite blush, and that is this one from Dior. This launched just before they launched their Christmas releases. So this one is super, super, super pale. You might not even see it if I put it on the back of my hand. I'll try to. But this has a lovely glow. Now you can see it actually. So it's a very, very light, soft pink with a nice glow. So this does not give you an awful lot of pigment. It makes a nice topper from that respect. So topping on top of the cream, but it does give that really lovely glow, and I love that, and I love to use it as a topper on cream. It's something I have actually used quite a lot. So that's what I've got on today on top of this. But this is a really pretty blush, and it works nicely with lots of the different cream blushes that we've had launching over the year. We've had tons of them, haven't we? So if you've got a more rich blush underneath, this can then be used as sort of ombre effect. So you have the light blush and the deeper blush, or it can just be used to completely transform the colour and give that sort of pale pink topping. So I love it for that, and I've used it a lot, so I really enjoy that one. But I don't think it would work very well if your complexion is a lot deeper than mine, to be honest. I think it's more for sort of fair skin, otherwise you won't really see it. So next onto the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Silk Liquid Eyeshadows. These are beautiful. These are matte eyeshadows. I've done a full review of these, as I have with everything I'm showing you. These are the most perfect base for me. That's the way I would wear these. And if I wasn't putting on my favourite today, I think it would have made a really nice base actually with the Patrick Tar glitters that I've put on today. So that's how I use these, as a base, and then you can tap it on. And it's also quite good because the glitter sort of grabs onto it if you do it before it dries. But these do dry down, and when they do, they stick. These do not emphasize lines. They are so friendly on mature skin. They really do. They don't just not emphasize lines, they blur them, in my opinion. And they also lock in your makeup for the whole day. I actually took the lighter shade, which one is it? Phoebe. I took this one on holiday, and it was very warm in Croatia, and we were out walking, and we also got caught in rain and all sorts. So this is Phoebe, but once it's been rubbed in, I'll show you. This is how it looks. It gives a perfect sort of base for so many things. So every day I put this on my eyes as my base, and then I went in with my Hourglass palette and did my eyes with powders. And apart from one day when I literally walked up about 1,000,000 steps and had sweat pouring down my face, my makeup still looked perfect by the end of the day, apart from that day, because it was really put to the test. But yeah, these are perfect for that. Obviously you can wear them on their own, but that's how I prefer to use them, and I think they're gorgeous actually. The only other ones I probably like in the same way would be the Danessa Myricks ones, but I find these easier to work in and quicker to apply. So these would probably be my favourites in my collection. And my favourite colour is probably Ione, if I was going to recommend one in particular. I just think this is quite a unique colour, and it gives a lovely, lovely base shade. It's almost like a sort of grey tint to this one. I'll rub it out and show you. So there's Ione. This one looks stunning on, it really does. This with just a black liner is a lovely look in itself. I always like to add a little pop of shimmer though, because that's just me, but it would work really nicely. Just this, nothing else, just that, and it really is beautiful. All of them are beautiful, so check out any of the colours. These are stunning liquid mattes, they really are. They're also very comfortable, and when it says silk, you can sort of feel that silk formula now as I touch it. It feels beautiful, really lovely. Yes, yes, love Lisa's products, and that was another winner. Now the last month has been finally the month of the eyeshadows, because we've had so few all year, but in the last month or two we have had tons, especially with the Christmas releases. But even outside of the Christmas releases, we've had some extremely special ones, so it's really hard to say there's a favourite. But this one is Fawn from Lisa Eldridge, and I'd say this is definitely up there with one of my favourites all year, but still not my favourite in this video, because there's one that just beats it. But this one is beautiful. I really, really love it. If I just quickly show you two of the shimmers and one of the mattes, just to give you an idea. I've got a full review of this, and it was one of my favourite looks I think that I created this year. I really, really loved it. It's got enough to give you that inner corner pop of brightness. It's got a dark enough shade to give you a liner. You can create 2 or 3 different looks with it. And here's the formula. Look how beautiful this shimmer is. The quality on this is sensational. Sorry, I've still got that liquid silk on my finger there. Yeah, absolutely stunning. So this is probably up there with the, what's it called? The one with green in from Lisa Eldridge. I had to get it because I couldn't remember the name. It's Sorcery. I'd say it's up there for my top ones from Lisa. So Fawn and Sorcery would be my top 2 at the moment. That's how much I like it. And I think that Fawn would be one of my favourites I've tried this year. Certainly for a small palette. Very travel friendly. Always got that beautiful, beautiful packaging. And we've got a nice mirror. They are just gorgeous, aren't they? So can't go wrong with that. I really liked Fawn. I love these shades. They're slightly cooler than Vega. So if you like Vega, maybe you don't need both. They are quite similar, but this one's a bit cooler. But yeah, really, really pretty. And I was a bit late to try this one, but this one is from Hermes, and this one is gorgeous. This is the Ombre Minerals, number 11. And this selection of colours, they are just the most autumn perfect colours. They really are, the 3 together. I love them. They're not particularly pigmented, so you can pretty much use these without any fear, even though they are quite strong colours. You can build up the blue to be quite strong, but the green and the brown, they're just really soft, beautiful, beautiful formulas, and they just blend together beautifully, extremely easy to use, and they give you that sort of perfect, those swatches do not do that justice, but they really do give you that perfect autumn effect. I have done a proper review of this, so you can see it on my eyes, and then you'd really get to see what I mean. But they are really, really user friendly. That's built up a little bit more, but they are really nice. And the shimmer, I just feel these swatches don't do any justice to it at all. Anyway, there's the shimmer, so you can sort of get an idea there. But honestly, on the eyes, really beautiful. Enough for me to definitely want to try another eyeshadow from Hermes. So that was a real winner for me. One of my favourite autumnal colour stories, definitely. And I also tried the Urban Decay Naked palette. This was beautiful. I absolutely loved this. So this was bringing back the very original one that was so popular so many years ago. And I loved it. I loved the look I created with this. To be honest, I haven't had time to go back and do another one, so I'm only really repeating what I've told you from the first time. But I do know that I want to go back. I just haven't had time with all the Christmas releases. But if you like neutrals, you've got everything covered in here. You've got your liner, you've got your inner corner, the under the brow. This could be inner corner, this could, multiple different looks. They are different enough, but the formulas in here, they work perfectly. Really, really beautiful. So if you like neutrals and you're looking for a neutral palette, this is one of the nicest ones I've tried. It is really, really, really good. So I loved that and really enjoyed playing with this one. So I haven't actually introduced this yet. This is the Delilah Venus. This is, I love Delilah, one of my absolute favourite companies. They launched a brand new eyeshadow, which again, goldy and also very much neutral colours, quite a warm palette. This launched in a kit and it comes with Twig, which is a brown eyeliner, which I don't have on me right now. It's somewhere over there. But anyway, it's a beautiful eyeliner. One of those ones you roll up, very thin nib. They work perfectly. I've been using Twig as one of my favourite brown eyeliners for a long time. So I'm pleased to have a backup of that, which came with Venus. So I've never been disappointed with anything I've tried from Delilah. If you saw my short video or my long form video trying on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Spice palette, this is quite similar, but actually a little bit better, you know. Look at these shimmers. This is made in the UK. This is 100% vegan. All of their packaging and everything they use recycled materials to create their packaging. They've even introduced, I've got one here, they've redone all their brushes so that their brushes are now even made from recycled materials. I think they're the only company doing it at the moment. They're working so hard to be so environmentally friendly. This is the foundation brush. I do have more there. I've got the powder brush here as well. So they've got a lovely brush collection. They were very good beforehand, but they've changed it now to make them 100% vegan and made from fully recycled products. So they really are a fabulous, fabulous brand, and this is a gorgeous palette. So definitely recommend that if you're looking for a sort of holiday kit. Really good. And I've got 22% off Delilah. So if you look below, or I'll put it on the screen if I can. If not, it'll be below, but I do have my discount codes there. So worth checking out Delilah. You won't get 22% off anything that's on sale, I think, but you will get it off everything else. So I picked up this Moon Dust one from Urban Decay, which doesn't want to open. And the biggest problem with this is they advertised it initially in the UK to look like the one that had 4 shimmers, as the one in the US was. That's how it launched. But this is the one we got here in the UK, which is 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. And I have to say, I was pretty underwhelmed with this. I have done a shorts video, so you can see me trying it on. I can get a nice look, but I didn't think that the mattes blended out particularly easily. They're swatching quite well on the back of my hand typically, but I didn't think that they were that wonderful. We know that the shimmers from Urban Decay are gorgeous, but this is just an okay. It does look beautiful when I say it's okay, doesn't it? It makes me look silly saying it's just okay. But I was a little bit underwhelmed. I just think it's nice, but it's about £40 or something like that. So it's very expensive for what I think is more of a sort of basic, very, you know, plastic packaging, no mirror. I think it's overpriced and a little bit boring. So that one was a bit of a fail for me. So we're now into the top two over the last 2 months for me. So in second place, only just, is the Mario Ethereal Eyes, the Moonlight palette. This is stunning. I prefer it to the original Ethereal Eyes. I love having this blue and these sort of deep greys. This is almost like a bluey grey sparkle as well. So we have the ethereal shades here for topping. I love this. I think it's beautiful. I will definitely be going back into this one and using this. I think it is so beautiful. So you can see a full review of this here on my channel. I'll just swatch that blue for you because it is something special. The blue, I'll put the sparkly blue next to it as well. So you can see the matte blue and the sparkly blue. Look at those, aren't they stunning? And I'll also swatch some of those ethereal shimmery topper shades. So here they are, look at them. Look at the sort of wet effect you get off these. They really are quite exceptional, very unique, and I don't think there's anything quite like it. So if you like this colour story, I would grab this because these do not hang about. The last one just disappeared and didn't come back, and then they were never going to bring it back, but they've brought it back and it's gone again in the US as far as I know. Still a little bit left on Sephora UK last time I checked, but it's not going to come back again. They are limited edition, so I would snatch this up, I really would. We do, in the US, you have the Sephora sale coming up soon, so if you can get that in the Sephora sale, I highly recommend you do that. So I can't really expect you to guess what I've got on my eyes because I've mostly got this Patrick Tar, but I have used my favourite eyeshadow palette in under the brow, if I say that maybe you'll guess, and in the outer V, and that is this one from Tom Ford. A brand I was almost trying not to like and wasn't that wowed by until the last two releases from this SOLEIL collection. So this is the Black Diamond palette. I have literally not taken this off my desk. It hasn't even gone into my top drawer. It stayed right on top of my desk, right next to me, because I cannot stop going into this. This shade here, there's no point me swatching this. It's just a creamy shade, which is, I think, the most perfect inner corner under brow shade I've ever had. It is so perfect for that. Obviously, you use this for a look, using all 4 shades, but also it's just good for me to dip into. So you've probably seen on this channel, if you follow me, that I'm always saying I'm just dipping into Black Diamond because the palette I'm using doesn't have the right sort of inner corner pop, but this one is so good. So there's the dark matte there with that. You can see it, can't you, that inner corner? It is, and they're so buttery soft, a bit like the sort of YSL buttery soft, really, really lovely. And then the brown, the lighter brown, which is quite shimmery, that's what I've actually got in my outer V. I've got this deeper brown lining underneath, but I do have a black liner as well, so you can't see that quite so much now. I'll just show you. The topper, and it is really more of a topper, is what I think, right now, if I had to pick a topper in my collection, and I do have a big one, I'd probably say it's this one. There's something so special about this. If I swatch it on its own, so there's the 4 colours together, but if I put this topper, say, over that deep shade, so you can see what I mean. Look how it's transformed that. It is so stunning. It just gives this perfect sparkle, no fallout, and it's exceptional. It is just gorgeous. The formula of these is top notch. It really is the best quality you can get. I think it is worth that money for me, because not only will I be using this on its own as a lovely colour story together, I'll be dipping into these for liner, for outer V like I did today, and for inner corner, and I will be using this as a topper quite often. It's just given me those 4 things that I always want and need. And this probably will never leave my side, honestly. I love this so much. So that's it for eyeshadows. I've just got one eyeliner, and that is the Victoria Beckham. This is a new satin shade, and this is called Orchid. It's described as a shimmering mauve, but then it's a satin. It's not a jewel, so I'm not entirely sure why it's described as a shimmering mauve, because I don't think it's shimmering. So I don't know if that was a mistake. See what you think anyway. That is Orchid. This is a shade I can't wear in my inner corner, in my waterline. It just wouldn't suit me at all, but I have tried this once. I haven't filmed with it though. So I lined the top and then I just spread this up and used it as my entire eyeshadow, and then went back in with it a bit more, and then I needed to deepen up with a darker colour. So this works really well. If you know Victoria Beckham eyeliners, they do work as eyeshadows. so you can sort of deepen up a bit more to line. But for me, because going underneath and the wing, it's just a little bit, it's not right for me. It doesn't look good on me. But as an all over the eye shade, it's a really, really lovely colour. So you can really blend this one out. It's one of these ones that once it sticks, it really does stick. So this is, you can get an idea of the sort of shade there if it's really blended out. So you can have this sort of shade pretty much above the crease, and then you can deepen it over the eye, and then you can really deepen up more across the lash line. So it's a very nice shade. So if you're looking for something like that sort of colour, it's quite a unique one as well. So I'm glad I've got it because I do collect them anyway, but not my favourite from Victoria Beckham shade wise, but the formula phenomenal as always. And now onto these from Armani. These are the highlighters, the Luminous Silk highlighters. I was so excited about these because the Luminous Silk blushes that launched earlier this year are easily my favourite liquid blush that launched this year. I love them. So I was really, really looking forward to using these with them. And they do work, but I was a little bit underwhelmed, and I felt they slightly moved the blush underneath. So these, I wouldn't say they're a fail. They're just, this is the rose coloured one. That one is number 3. I have done a full review of these, so you can see it here on my channel. They are not particularly glittery or anything, so you're getting a very natural finish, a lovely natural glow. And the best way I would put these on is just to tap like that, rather than dotting it on, because I think it actually removes your makeup. So if you just literally tap it on, I've already got highlighter, so you're not going to see much here, but it is, they're just okay, and they're not a favourite, I'm afraid. I was really hoping they would be, but they're not. They certainly don't beat those stunning ones that were launched very early on in the year from Dior. Nowhere near as good as those. Those were the Dior Forever range. I loved those. These are a poor second to that, they really are, but they're just okay, and that's all I can say about them. But that was probably my favourite colour that I just showed you. But maybe this one, which is shade number 1, I would presume, yeah, this one would go with most looks with my complexion anyway, because it's more, I'll show you now. You can see their sort of colour would just go with most looks for me. So again, just tap it on and just give you, you can see I've already got highlighter like I said, but all it's adding is a bit of a wet look shine. So if that's what you're looking for, they're perfect, but apply them with your fingers, so they're okay. And Gucci Glow highlighter would almost be my favourite, but not quite, so I'll just show you these. This one is the Lilac, and this one is Opal Pink. So these are very expensive. I think they're around the £50 mark, so they're a bit overpriced for a plastic, slightly cheapy looking case, I think, in my opinion. But the formula on these, they are very, very nice. They are not ones that emphasize lines or texture either. They're a very skin friendly, mature skin friendly formula. I particularly like the Lilac, but I will swatch both for you. They are incredibly soft. They are the softest highlighter I've ever touched. They really are. Here they both are. I mean, they are stunning, aren't they? They are, really are beautiful. Some of the prettiest highlighters I've tried this year, and for a long time, in all honesty. They're so smooth, there's no glitter in them at all, and they certainly don't have any sort of grey effect at all, these shades. These look beautiful. So this one will probably go with more looks, because you do need to sort of fit that in with the blush colour and the eyeshadow colour. But if you're going for a sort of pinky look or a slightly pinky lilac blush, you don't have to have a lilac blush though. You can add the lilac to a pink and it just looks gorgeous. I love it. And I also love to use the lilac across the whole of the lid. This is something I took on holiday as well as my Hourglass palette, and I used this on the days I didn't use the Hourglass palette on the lid. It's a gorgeous sort of one and done shade. You could probably do exactly the same with the rose. Well, you can, I just haven't. My battery just died. No surprise with how much I'm rabbiting on here. I don't know what I was saying, but I do know I said this is beautiful on the eyes. So this is a lovely eyeshadow, and you can definitely use the rose one for that too. These are formulas without glitter. They are stunning. I don't think this formula can be beaten actually. That's how good it is. It is an absolutely stunning formula. But it's not my top, and neither is the next one I'm going to show you. This is the Glorious one from By Terry. I got this because I am quite obsessed with pink and glowy pink. So for a highlighter, this is probably a fail. But for a blush, if I can get it open, a pink glowy blush, it's not a fail by any means. So for me, on my skin tone as a highlighter, it's a fail. As a glowy blush, it's not. But for you, if you've got a deeper skin tone, this wouldn't be this would work as a nice highlighter rather. So I'll show you how this looks. It is beautiful, it really is. So that's a perfect shade of blush for me. So if I want a glowy blush, in the same way the Fenty Corally blush that I love so much this year gave me that was supposed to be a blush, but it looked like a highlight blush really. This is like the pink version of that. So this is stunning, and look at the packaging and look at the embossing, which is really deep embossing, so it will last quite a long time. And we've got a nice mirror and this top as well. Stunning. Love that one from By Terry. And that's another one that would probably work nicely on the eyes if you like to wear pinks on the eyes. But anyway, there's just one highlighter that stood out for me above everything. The Christmas release highlighters, the September and the October highlighters. And that was this one from Hermes. This is the most expensive, but wow, do I love it. This is limited edition. This is number 02, and this is a rose gold. I do still have some of the embossing, so it hasn't completely vanished, but this embossing was showing the sort of house of Hermes, if I recall. So it's still there, and I've used it loads. So I'll just swatch this, so you can see it next to the Gucci. So that's the Gucci rose gold there, and this is the Hermes. There's just something so special about the finish on this. You can see that the Gucci is probably extremely close, but this one is just got such a special finish, and that's what I've got on today. I've messed it up a little bit by tapping that liquid highlighter over the top, but you can just see that hint of rose. It's not over the top, but it's just the second it hits my skin, it's like it melts in and gives you that perfect glow with a tiny hint of that rose. It is so stunning. I love this. It's beautiful as an eye topper and in a corner as well. And it's also beautiful if you wanted to use it as a standalone across the eyes. So if you just got bronzer and just this, it is absolutely glorious. I love it. So I've been quite spoilt for highlighters. I think with the By Terry, I forgot to mention this one is called Fairy Flirt, by the way, if you wanted the name of it. So yeah, very spoilt with highlighters this year, the last 2 months, sorry. But yeah, Hermes takes my #1 spot. And please remember that there have been many other things like the Chanel highlighter, which I adore, but that was in my Christmas release, so I'm keeping them separate. So these are the non-Christmas releases here, that's why they're not featuring. So we saw some new things from Natasha Denona that weren't in her Christmas release section, and that was this brush, which I think is really good actually. This is the High Gen brush. It doesn't have the name written on it, but I know it's the High Gen brush. This one here can be used for foundation, so for liquids, and this one at the end for powders. The only thing I would say is I would rather it be liquids both sides. Like I love to use the Mario one, here it is, the F4. I use this all the time because it's got 2 ends for liquids, so you can sort of do foundation, which is what I do, and then this one for contour. And then when you want to go around the edges of your blush, you've got it all there. So I do prefer it if it has that. But this is a lovely foundation brush. It's so soft and it works really nicely. I can't help wanting to reach for it or use it for cream blush as well. It's a really nice one. And this one is really good, I'd say more for like, just for powder blush, maybe highlight, but it's a bit too big. So this end not so good, but this end, I love that. I won't be mentioning the Natasha Denona eyeshadows, all been a little bit too recent, but also that's slightly holiday. I'm just going to make that my November favourites because I've been trying out these things very late in the month. They didn't make it into my Christmas release video and they haven't made it into this because they're very late. So this actually released before the Roxa palette from Natasha Denona. So she launched that brush with this High Gen. This is like a lip care product, but it's tinted. So tinted lip mask. I don't have this on today because it's certainly not my favourite product. I'm not really a fan of these in all honesty. They are very runny and difficult to apply. You really do need a mirror. You can't just have these in your pocket and pop them on because they will run outside of your lips and the hydration doesn't last that long. So I really didn't enjoy these in all honesty. I've bought 2 and I've kept the other one next to me when I'm working during the day, and I've used it a few times, but I always feel I have to grab a mirror to make sure I haven't gone outside, because it's quite a reasonable amount of pigment. I'll show you with this one, and if you go outside your lips with this, you're going to look dreadful. Obviously it's not that dark as you rub it in, but it is quite a dark tint really, certainly if you go outside the lips. So not a massive fan of that one. I thought it's not grippy enough, not hydrating enough, and a bit fiddly. So I prefer a nice easy one that goes on. Like for instance, I use the Rode Beauty one very often. This one is just much easier, it's a bit thicker. I often put this one on before I do my lipstick. It's got the same sort of applicator, but then you're getting that sort of really grippy formula, much more grippy. It's hard to appreciate really on my hand, but it's not runny. It just grips to the lips. So something like this, or Summer Fridays, or Ole Henriksen are the ones I love to use. Not so much the Natasha Denona, so I probably wouldn't recommend that, but it does have some good ingredients. So if you do like a very lightweight, more runny formula, then they've got a nice colour that does last quite a while, and they've got those skin loving ingredients, but not for me personally. And I also tested the RMS lip oils. That is what I'm wearing today. I've got this one on my lips today. These are my favourite purely because the only thing I tested that isn't in the Christmas release for my lips, and I'm not including the Lisa Eldridge here because that will definitely be coming up in next month's review. The only ones I tested was these from Natasha Denona and RMS, and these are my favourite out of the two, but I don't particularly love these either. This one is called Lily, and the reason I'm not the biggest fan, I've applied this twice whilst filming and my lips are drying out again, so they're not giving me the hydration I need. I've also lost quite a bit of the colour, and all I've done is sip water through a straw in my beaker. I've got, you know, one of these cups, so it should have lasted longer than that, so I need to reapply for the third time. My lips, even at reapplying it, I can feel they're getting dry, like I need to add something else. So I need to go in with something like that Rode one or something more intense. I need a really hydrating top, and my lips don't feel very happy from this. So this can give you a nice tint if you want to add maybe a thicker gloss on top. But the other thing I don't like is the dough fit comes out almost dry, and I feel like it rubs against your lips. You just get a tiny bit of the formula. It might show if when I swatch it. The dough fit looks quite normal, but when it comes out, it actually feels quite dry. Oh, I've got a reasonable swatch now, so it's trying to make me look like I'm making this up. But honestly, it does feel dry. It just doesn't feel like a wet formula at all. You feel like you're dragging an almost dry sponge across your lips, and it's just not very good for my lips. Like, there's so many nicer ones out there. Like I've got here the Galan B one, for instance, which has been one of my favourite lip oils this year and ever. This is so soft and smooth, and you get so much on the end. It's just, in fact, I'm going to put it on now. Oh, it's so nice. Honestly, it feels amazing. A million times better. So yeah, not a big fan of the RMS lip oils either, I'm afraid. And now on to setting spray. This is from Makeup by Mario. This launched with the setting powder. So this is the Surreal Skin Soft Setting Spray. This is exceptional. I love this. I've got no setting spray on today, so I will spray some so you can see how fine it is, because it is a lovely fine spray. Very fine. Lovely, refreshing and easy to spray on. But most importantly, this locks down my makeup more than anything I've ever tried. It absolutely does. I did actually do a demonstration when I reviewed this here on my channel, because this, I put it over some eyeshadows on my hand. They do not budge. They even, when I use soap and water, struggled to budge because it locks them in. So you do need an oil makeup remover when you've been using this setting spray, but once you've sprayed your face, you will look like this hours later. It is phenomenal. And I love how lightweight it is, because you can probably see I don't look too wet. It hasn't dried down yet, but it's not heavy, it's not sticky. It's very, very lightweight, very pleasant, no particular fragrance coming from it. This is a knockout setting spray. So I think that Mario has done so well. I mean, you can see here how impressed I am with the Ethereal Eyes palette and with his setting powder. This, I've got about probably 15 different setting sprays in my collection, and currently there's only 2 sitting on the top of my desk. I'm rotating through the 2. and that is Vive, which I love, but this one gives a little bit more hydration, so this one's probably better when I really need more hydration. This locks in well, but not quite as well as this. This one is finer and probably my top now. My number one is easily for me replace the Charlotte Tilbury, and I really mean that easily because that's been my number one for years. But yeah, I love this one from Mario. That will be staying top of my desk, and I'll be replacing it as soon as I've got about this much left. I'll be rushing out to get another one. I love it. And the last one to update you on is the Merit perfume. I very recently reviewed this one for you. This only launched about a week ago. I have worn it now for a week, and I'm sadly going to have to tell you that this does not last on me at all. In fact, an hour later, I am not even aware of it at all. If I smell my wrists, where I've put at least 2 sprays, I can just about smell it, and that's after 1 hour. I think that this smells incredible. I love the smell of it. I love the notes. If you're not familiar, it's got top notes of bergamot, pear, ambret and aldehydes, a heart of jasmine, rose, rosemary, violet and orris, and bottom notes of vanilla, musk and moss. Perfect combination for a sweet fragrance, fruity fragrance, but with a bit of spice. It is beautiful. I think the bottle is so unique. It looks like an ornament. It's lovely to hold. I can sing its praises in so many ways, but it doesn't last. It's utterly useless. It's one of the worst perfumes I've ever had to last on me, which is such a shame. The first time I tried it, I was thinking there was a bit of longevity, but I'm remembering now I already had something underneath. So maybe if you put this on top of a deeper fruit one, but you shouldn't have to because this one is so expensive. You only get 30 mils in here, and I think I paid around £80, so it's really expensive. And also for opening, for me, I don't even know it's possible to open it this way, but I've only ever opened it by twisting it, and it's got this really stiff, still stiff. If you saw my first review, look how hard it is to open. So that's another thing I really don't like about it. So I would honestly not recommend this unless for some reason it lasts longer on your skin, because it is beautiful. So if you can at least try this in store, if it lasts on you, happy days, get it. It's a beautiful smell if you like those sorts of notes. But for me, the longevity is awful. So that was a sad one. I was so excited about that one. But anyway, I finally reached the end of this long review of these 2 months. I've finally caught up, so I hope I've covered everything, because I've got to admit my mind is a little bit frazzled. I've filmed 2 videos back to back this morning with a Patrick Tar and this. I'm going away for a week again, so I do really need to sort of squash my content and get it all out before I leave. So I've got something for you to view whilst I'm away. Plus I really needed to do these updates because especially the September updates, I've been waiting for so long. So I hope you found it helpful, and I would love to hear from you if you've tried any of the products I've reviewed today, and if you've got similar or very different thoughts. I would really love to hear that. And also the subscribers who are reading these comments might like to know, because you might have got on very well with things that I haven't, because we're all individual and we all have our own different experiences and views on everything. Obviously these are just my personal views, and I would love to hear yours, and I'm sure everyone else would too. So if you have enjoyed this and you're not subscribed, please do like and subscribe. It's so super helpful to my channel. And if you already are, you're at the end of another video. I absolutely adore you all for being here and for supporting my channel. I really do. And I hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care everybody. Bye.